Hello guys, Mr. Max here with Reactionary Principles Gaming, and I wanted to talk a bit about the benefit of 4D roleplay. And if you watched last week 4-Color Cafe, Bear show that I was on, some of what I'm gonna say here is gonna be rehashed from that show, but I wanted to say it in like a shorter format, more digestible and more shareable, I guess, so you can share those videos. So what are the benefits of 4D roleplay, the 4D roleplay style compared to other? So like I said in the 4-Color Cafe, one of the main benefits for me is that it cut down on GM player interaction to resolve a single thing, right? And the example I was using was about looking for driftwood on the beach, right? If your character is on the beach, in the 2D style of play, you would say, well, is there driftwood on the beach? And then GM would say, yes, some right there. And then you say, okay, I go to the driftwood and I pick it up. Or then you ask a question, how big is the driftwood? And then GM would say, well, there's all kind of sort. Some big, some small. You can find some branches. And you say, okay, I'll go and pick up a branch of driftwood. And then you do what you want to do with it, right? In the 3D style of play, you could go straight to say, like stay in character, avoid the question to the GM and just say, I look for driftwood on the beach. And then the GM would say, there's some tree that washed the shore, some branches, all kind of driftwood, and then you can say what you want to do with it, right? I go and pick up a branch. If in the 4D style of roleplay, you're on the beach, you can just go straight ahead and say, I go and pick up a branch that drifts on the beach. The GM didn't have to say there was. You're just like conjuring out of thin air. So now you can go straight to saying what you want to do with the driftwood, right? You can go straight to... so it cut like... and you can do more in one session because of that, because you got those little... back and forward to resolve one thing, right? If it makes sense, if it fit the setting, if it fit the tone, and if it's something that you know the answer is going to be yes. You know there's going to be like whatever you're looking for, right? It makes sense. Then you can just go ahead and do it. Sometime, like you wouldn't say like you're on the beach and you just say like, oh, I go pick up a shotgun that washed ashore. Then no, that would be like stupid, right? It doesn't make sense. But stuff that are obviously there, why not? So keep the game moving much faster, but in a much more cinematic way, because every turn you can do something, you take an action, you do something that might advance the plot, right? That might advance the action. So just like taking your time, looking around, probing stuff, and then after the game session just become description. Now you can have like you can be much more action oriented. Another advantage of the 4D style, because it's a style, it's not like a philosophy or a school or whatever, right? It's just a matter of style. Another advantage of the 4D style is that it makes, in my opinion, the world feel much more alive and populated, because now you're not limited in your imagination. It frees the player imagination to include stuff that makes sense in the world, and when they create their mindscape in their mind, they're not restricted by including only the specific thing that the GM described, right? So the GM can say, you're on a beach, and then you can start like picturing the beach in your mind with stuff that would make sense to be there. It doesn't have to be barren and a blank slate until the GM adds stuff. You can start adding in your mind your own stuff. And the same thing if you go to a village, right? It's a medieval village. You're gonna find things that are expected to be in the medieval village. You don't have to wait for the GM to say that they're there, right? You say, well, medieval village, it's a poor village. It used to be like they used to have a mine working around, but the mine has been shut down for decades. right? It gives like some tone, some vibe of the village, so you know what you expect. And you can even conjure an NPC in that way, and that makes the world feel much more alive, because now even if the player, like, you say, well, you arrive at the village, it's the end of the day, people are packing up shop, closing up their little store on the street, and you can say, I hail like I hail like a little old woman there, and ask her where I can find the tavern, right? Whatever. You don't have to ask, well, is there somebody I can ask around? You don't have to say, oh, look for somebody I can. You can just like say it, because yeah, there would be people around there. It's a medieval town. People are outside all the time, right? Their houses are tiny and dark and poorly lit, like right. So people are outside of the town all the time. So in a medieval town, there's gonna be people outside doing stuff, right? Doing chore, just fucking around, whatever. If you assume they're there and you can just act like they're there, it make it feel like there's people there, right? You don't have to keep your mind empty until like the GMs say, give you the permission to see stuff, right? So for me, that's also a big advantage. So I hope you found that interesting, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.